and the like. Joining us right now from New York is Ellis Henican, a journalist and author, and also Niger Innis, executive director for the TeaParty.net. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Good morning or good afternoon.
Hey, John. Hi, Niger.
Hey, John.
All right, well, let's start with you, Ellis. Seeing the Dow Jones, the S&P, and NASDAQ bounce back pretty strong today, this is something we've seen with other issues in the stock market here. I'm getting whiplash. What's really at play here?
Well, the good news is now I can retire at 107 instead of 113. So I'm smiling, at least for the moment. Let me say that. Listen, here's the reality. It isn't just Ebola, but Ebola is one of half a dozen nagging, difficult to solve, frustrating, and kind of novel problems that the world is dealing with. All of this is much bigger than the United States of America or its Congress and president. The challenges of ISIS, of Russia's new muscularity, of ongoing issues in the Middle East, immigration. I mean, Niger and I could come up with a list about 47 items long, but the world is a challenging place. It makes investment less safe. But in the end, I'm going to stick with the stock market because I believe, and I think most smart people do, that that's where the long-term value is.
Well, go ahead, Niger. Go ahead.
I actually have to agree largely with what Ellis said. It was well stated. I agree that there are just a number of crises. It's not just Ebola, but it's as he well stated, the neo Soviet Union, if you will, even though there is no such thing anymore. I think Vladimir Putin would like it very much to be so, much more of aggressive foreign policy. But I think where Ellis and I will disagree is that the United States is still the lone superpower. The world still, as much as the world bitch and moans about the United States, whenever there's a crisis, whenever there's a problem going on in the world looks to the United States. And right now, not only in fact, but also in image, the world sees the President of the United States and his agencies looking grossly incompetent, ineffective, not just in dealing with Ebola, not just in dealing with Vladimir Putin and Russia, not just dealing with ISIS, not just having his national security advisor saying that we're cooperating with Turkey and they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they're going to do the other thing, and then Erdogan saying that is absolutely not the case. Not only that, but I sympathize with ISIS. The world looks at that leadership or lack thereof, and they get even more concerned. And I think that's where Ellis and I might depart from agreeing with each other.
Well, you know, it's certainly a fair assessment there. I mean, there is a lot of concern. We don't know really what the real impact of Ebola is going to be moving ahead, but it's already playing a role, as we mentioned, in the economics, in the stock market. But let's talk about another area where it is playing a role in the midterm election cycle, and we're talking about the state of Iowa. Recently, in a the race between Democratic Congressman Bruce Braley and Senator Joni Ernst. The two traded blows on the issue during their final debate last night. Let's take a listen. Okay, I'm sorry we don't have that.
I do believe that we need to do more, and unfortunately our administration, including Congressman Braley, has been very reactive rather than proactive. We have seen the threat from Ebola for the past several months, and I would encourage temporary travel bans, additional screenings for travelers, continuing aid into those nations.
She supported a radical plan to shut down the federal government, said she would have voted for it, and we learned today that that dramatically cut the funding for the Centers for Disease Control and the National Institutes for Health. And it also dramatically cut foreign aid. So you can't say that you support those things when your policies that you're promoting would have made it more difficult for us to address this problem.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to get you to hold your thoughts real quickly about what was just said. And hopefully the viewers can stick around with us, too. We're going to take a short commercial break. We're going to come back and talk more about how Ebola is being used in these midterms right after this. America's Forum continues.